Hello and welcome to today's episode. I am Emma Lovell and you are on the Emma Lovell Show. Today's episode is all about what happens when the unexpected happens. So, one of the things that I like to say on my retreats, when I was a tour manager and doing any sort of travel adventure or starting something new, I always open with expect the unexpected. And so we have a plan, we have an itinerary, but let's just be open to the fact that things can happen and let's see what happens, and we'll kind of cross that bridge when we come to it. But you don't really want those things to happen. So this is a bit of a different episode. We don't have any of our intros or outros or all those sorts of things. So I just would like to open by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which I am presenting to you from today. They are the Yugambeh people, and I pay my respects to the elders past and present and honour their ongoing commitment to the land, waterways and skies. So today's episode is about yeah, I might just jump in, because and it's a tough one to share because it's emotional. It was challenging. I'm coming out of a few weeks of very difficult situations. So if anyone's a regular listener of the podcast, you will notice we had a couple of weeks hiatus. And at one time I would have thought that was a big problem. Now I'm like, we share when we can. I'd love to be consistent and do every single week. But sometimes there's things happening within the business and within my own world that don't allow us to have the content ready. Also, the think that we had some things ready. We had a lot of content ready to go out, and we had to change it all because the world changed. So let's get to it. What happened? You might have seen me. I've been using for those watching, but for those listening, you'll hear I've been using this. This is a Nepalese singing bowl, and I bought it in Nepal in 2006 on one of my first visits there. It's this beautiful singing bowl. It's something that they're well known for. They use them in Buddhist culture, in Tibetan culture, you'll find them in many places in the world, but in Nepal you'll see a lot of you'll see prayer wheels and you'll see singing bowls and you'll see them used in temples and things like that. So I bought that when I was there, and I've been using it in the lead up to us going to Nepal. Now, I'm just going to have to check the date because I want to make sure I get it right. But it was, well, I'm just going to have to check again. I don't know what date it is. I don't even know where we are, what we're doing. I believe it was the 11th of September. Someone said to me, have you seen what's happening in Nepal? And I said no. And they said, well, you might want to let your clients, the rest of the group, know. There's some social media ban has happened. So, and there's been some sort of pushback about that. And I was like, oh, that's going to be difficult. So she said, just you might want to let people know they're not going to be able to do social media when they're there, which is okay. We've had that when we've been in China. I do love to share what we're up to, but obviously we use some of those communication channels. I think WhatsApp was okay, but letting people know they might not be able to contact their family by social media while they're traveling. Okay. And then the following day I woke up to a message from my Indian travel partner, which said, I'm already getting upset. Said, I need to talk to you about Nepal. And I immediately Googled Nepal and I saw that they were having riots. A political crisis was erupting. The Prime Minister had left. The government was essentially, most of the ministers had fled. The city was on fire. The Kathmandu, they were setting buildings on fire, hotels on fire. Um, and they had rebelled against what had happened with the social media. But it's more than that. What happened was um, the government shot students who were protesting. The young Nepalese people were out protesting about the social media ban, which is their right. This free speech issue that's happening in the world. People were saying, I'm not happy about this, but you don't expect your government to shoot you. And they believe it was 70 people they shot. Um, it's really difficult because we're seeing some media. You see what's in the media. I do have Nepalese colleagues. We had our tour operator on the ground. I have very close business friends and colleagues, dear friends there from I've been to Nepal 4 times over 20 years. So dear people that I love in that country going through this. They are such beautiful, peaceful, wonderful people. And I know that people might not see that because they've been through a lot of turmoil. Nepal has a very complicated history in the last pretty much 20 years when the monarchy ended and then, a government two-party system came in. I'm not going to go into it. You can Google it. But ever since then, they haven't really had a stable government. They've had these sort of extremist government come in at one time. I've been stopped in protests in this. We weren't able to get through a road once in a small town because there was a protest. I've seen the protests in the town. But what's always been true is that the Nepalese people love one another, and they also love tourists. Tourism accounts for 30% or more of their income. Not obviously, but Everest Base Camp is located in Nepal. It is one of the world tourist attractions, and the income that comes from people trekking to base camp, trekking to the top, is huge for their country. Trekking is huge industry, and without tourism, there's a lot of challenge for a small country, landlocked country like Nepal. So I'm giving you a lot of context. Anyway, it is unfortunately not uncommon for there to be, I guess, difficulty with the political system, but it is certainly a very unusual experience to have people shot for speaking up. So the Prime Minister left, ministers left, and it was all blamed. It's been blamed on the young people, which is awful. But this is, what happens when there's extreme conflict and tension in a place for a long time. From all accounts, from my lovely friends who are there now, the Nepalese people are rallying together. They are trying to calm down. They are trying to repair and heal from what is happening. But the reality is buildings were burned. The Hilton, the major hotel in the city, was burned. And one of the hotels that was booked for my retreat has some fire damage, and they have currently closed their bookings. I immediately contacted my group. I had 8 people booked for a retreat on the 21st of November in Nepal. So that was just 9.5 weeks, the day that it happened. We also had a client. I partner with a travel company called Indusbound, and we had a partnership. We have a partnership. I've been working with them for 8 years, helping people to plan trips in India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, and Bhutan. And I have a vision to host retreats. I had this vision to host retreats across this region. And I now help retreat hosts. So through my business, Rest and Receive, I help retreat hosts to run retreats in that part of the world. It's the area that Rest and Receive we specialize in. So we have this relationship with the travel partner, and we are able to organize groups, but also small luxury boutique tours. So we had actually a client who was meant to be going 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks after what was happening. So we had to immediately change her plans that day and offer her an alternative, because we just couldn't send her into that in those early days, not knowing how long things would go on. And the reality is, they didn't have a government, and for 5 or 6 days they did not have a leader of their country, and the fear was that other parties, could step in. They do have a female prime minister who is a female minister. I believe she's a justice, has stepped in, and for now, and they won't hold now an election until March. I was very fearful that this decision would fall to me. There was no hard and fast rule on how long it would take. If, we have a website here in Australia, Smart Traveller. We have, a government body that says whether it's safe to travel or not. And we don't know how long that will stay on or when they will lift it or that sort of thing. So it always says for Nepal that there could be civil or political unrest because, as I said, it's happened before. So that is a risk of travel, and it can happen anywhere in the world at any time. Everything is fine and peaceful, and then it's not. And it's unfortunate that this is the reality. So this is why I always tell my clients to have travel insurance, that they are booking this, knowing that they are taking on this travel in this situation. So we have terms and conditions and an event waiver, but we're also humans and we have to deal with that. So this is just the reality of travel for anyone. And of course, we had a very crazy situation 5 years ago when a pandemic happened that nobody could have predicted. Unfortunately, as well, with civil and political unrest, it can be called a force majeure, which is a term in travel, and sometimes travel insurance will not cover for these things. But it's still you must have travel insurance, and it is a condition of any of our retreats that as soon as they book, they get travel insurance for any reason, for they might have to cancel. We can't guarantee that they'll be covered, but it is a requirement. So anyway, the thing is though, if it was up to me to cancel or find an alternative. But all of this I had to figure out within days. This had happened on the Thursday. On the Sunday, I was not feeling good. I just have been to Nepal before and I love them dearly and I want to support them, but I don't know. I don't know how long it could go. And I felt very uneasy about waiting and how long we might have to wait to make a decision, because I knew my clients would be unsettled as well. And they have to make arrangements, and there's issues with changes of flights and cancellations of flights and all those sorts of things. And the nearer that you get, the costs do rise. I didn't want anybody to experience any additional costs or anything like that. So I was feeling like 70% sure that we were going to have to move it. And that very first day, we had already started looking alternatives. This is the beauty of working with a travel partner, of working with a company who is familiar with the country. And we have very strong partnerships with Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bhutan. We may grow, but Indus bound, the company, obviously know India inside and out, but we have partner offices all around the country and in those other countries, so that if something happens, we can work on it very quickly. And it's not up to me to go and figure out in a country that I do know India well, but I'm obviously not Indian. I don't work in the travel industry full time. So I rely upon my partners and my experts. I'm also very fortunate to have an amazing relationship with 2 travel agents who I contacted immediately. It was quite interesting, actually. I was also at a conference in Bali, so not ideal, which Indonesia was also experiencing riots in a completely different island to Bali at that same time. And there were floods on the other side of the island. We were having a lot of rain. Where I was, there was no flooding, but we're getting messages going, "Are you okay?" And I'm going, "What?" So I'm thinking about Nepal and I'm in Bali and these, I just think the world, there's a lot going on outside of what is happening immediately to you. So anyway, the reason I felt so anxious to make the call was that in 2015, 10 years ago, I was working for a travel charity challenge company. So why I'm so comfortable doing tours and creating experiences was that I worked for this charity challenge company and we took people to Everest Base Camp, Mount Kilimanjaro, Kokoda, Peru, Cambodia, Vietnam. So have worked in this, in these countries where things are not the same as they are here, uncertain and maybe for some people precarious or scary or for various reasons. I feel very comfortable in these parts of the world, I must say. But we've had situations where things have happened where we've had to deal with it. So I actually had to have a woman in early March 2015, I had to have a woman flown off Everest Base Camp because she was having fluid on her lungs. So I had to organise that after trekking 11 hours that day to Everest Base Camp and back to our accommodation at 5,000 metres, getting a phone call saying she needs to be helicoptered tomorrow. Can we get her insurance details? So I've dealt with this situation and I've dealt with it with the colleague in Nepal that I was supposed to be going with. Later that year, was it that year or 2016, I was meant to be tour leading. I think it was 2016. I was meant to be tour leading. And no, it was 2015. Forgive me. I was meant to be tour leading for a charity in Nepal again, but doing the Annapurna trek, which is a different part, a very famous trek as well. And I was taking the group over. But then there was a fuel crisis. So one of the roads got blocked there's a road to Nepal from China. That's where they get some of their fuel. They also get it from India. The road was blocked due to a landslide. So they couldn't get any fuel from China. And then there was a political situation with India. They weren't getting fuel from India. The country had no fuel. They don't just use fuel for their cars, they use fuel for lights, they use fuel for cooking. Like we're talking about gas. They use it for a lot of things. So people couldn't get places, they couldn't cook, they couldn't turn their lights on. But this was on BBC and CNN, which are major news channels, but it wasn't on Australian media. And my friends in Nepal were saying, please don't come, Emma. Like, it's terrible. It's horrible what's happening here. Please don't come. They were struggling. And yet the company I was working for weren't really hearing that and weren't willing to tell the participants, and they weren't willing to really, they put it into a risk assessment, but I was like, I'm not comfortable taking a group of people into a unknown political crisis. And ultimately, I pulled out of the trip, which broke my heart. But also, at the time, I was contracting to World Vision Australia. And I talked to I worked in the PR team. I talked to the emergency PR communications specialist in my team. They had a do not travel. Within our company, World Vision had a do not travel to Nepal. And our team from other countries had to go out. So anyone who was a foreign member of World Vision had to leave. So they couldn't even aid workers couldn't, and not-for-profits couldn't operate in the situation. And we were going to go and essentially have a holiday, and I didn't agree with it. And I said, I'm not going, it's unethical, and I will not do it. So I had to pull out of that trip, and it broke my heart. And I felt like I was 10 years later facing the same situation. And I felt so much disappointment. I was actually meant to be having a week traveling with my husband and son the week before, which has been a dream since I was pregnant, to take my boy to the mountains of Nepal, to take Matt, to show them what I love, to show them the people I love. I can picture it all. I can see us there. So I had that booked. I felt extreme disappointment for the people who are living there and concern for my friends who are in danger and who are now trying to rebuild their lives, and would be fearful now for their own economy and political situation. It's just all very uncertain for them. I felt disappointment for my group who have been booked in, for some of them 10 months, are looking forward to this. You know, for them, it's a life bucket list as well, to go into Nepal. They've paid, they've planned, they've got their leave, they've paid for flights. There's a lot of admin involved in that, but also disappointment. And then my own disappointment, because I was looking forward to going and I wanted to take this group, and I have pictured and envisioned this for, I mean, I would say 3 years. You know, I've wanted to do this. I've known that I was going to go to these destinations. So, but ultimately, thankfully, the decision was taken out of my hands on the Sunday. And my colleague in India said the Indian travel organization, or the international, one of the travel organizations that he's part of, has said, do not accept bookings. We do not recommend planning and accepting bookings for luxury travel, which is what we do, until after the elections in March, which is really challenging for Nepal. And people can still choose to, but to organize a group, if somebody chooses to travel at their own leisure and in their own way, that's fine. But to be responsible for people and to be responsible for a group, it's not a good idea. It's not really very ethical, and it creates a lot of challenge if something does go wrong, when you knew something could go wrong, when you're expecting that something can go wrong. This is not unexpected, this is known. And also, like I said, we found out that one of the hotels we had booked had closed their bookings, so no dates were available, and that there was fire damage to the hotel. So they were going to have to repair that. So we made that call. I told my clients as soon as I could, and I let them know that we had alternatives. And so I'm here to tell you today that the Pleasure Life retreat for 2025 will now be in India, which I'm so happy about because I love India and I know that she's going to take care of us. But I'm still sad that I can't deliver what I promised. I have, that's my own disappointment. And the thing is, this is something that I teach my clients. Oh, this is something that I teach my clients in the Rest to Receive course. That is that, sorry, it's the Host Profitable Retreats course in Rest and Receive. It is that intention is so important. And my intention, all of the intention that I put into this retreat was so strong. Um, and the location, I tell them the location does the heavy lifting. So what I wanted the outcome and for the clients to experience, Nepal would facilitate and support that. However, the content and what I want to deliver in terms of a pleasure life, that how you harmonize your work and your wealth, your travel and leisure and your self-care, I'm so clear on what that is. I'm so clear on the power of retreats. I'm so clear on rest. When you rest, that you can receive, which is the ethos of our company and any retreat that we run. That although our entire location has changed, I know that I can create and deliver a similar experience with the same intention, with a beautiful outcome in a different destination. And I recognize and honor that they are different countries with different cultures. However, I've tried to take it to a place that will give them a similar experience and a similar shift and change that they are seeking, which is why they came on the retreat. So I give you, you are welcome to have a look. It's at restandreceive.au/India 2025. We created an entire new website. We've created an entire new itinerary. I am forever thankful to my partner Pankaj at Indus Bound. They are incredible what they do, that we were able to turn this around. We had an itinerary pretty much planned on the day. That is a credit to my 20 years I've been going to India. So knowing the destinations and knowing what it could deliver, knowing the places that were possible. I don't know the hotels or the logistics, but I knew what I asked for, what I wanted, and was told what could be done. He has managed to, we have no additional cost to my clients for the retreat. We've managed to keep all of that the same. In any case, that wouldn't be for them to take on. That's for us to deal with. But we've managed to keep the cost the same. There is a change for my clients. Unfortunately, they've had to change their flights. I cancelled mine and rebooked. So there is a cost to changing. Thankfully, we have a travel agent who worked with most of them to help them. And 6 out of the 8 have accepted, I guess, the unexpected expectation shift and have said yes to the adventure of going to India instead. We will be going to Delhi, which is it's the capital of India, New Delhi. It is also the historic centre, so a lot of history is there. Incredible shopping as well. We will then travel to Amritsar, which is famous for the Golden Temple, also for the changing of the guard, with Pakistan and India doing a nightly performance of changing of the guard at the border. We'll then travel to Dharamsala, which was my first thought for the retreat. The Dharamsala is the home to the Dalai Lama. His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, the one and only, it is his residence is there. It is where the Tibetan people fled. So unfortunately, some negative history and still negative consequences in Tibet for those people. We will learn a lot more about that when we are there. But they have created this beautiful sanctuary in Dharamsala. So it's quite an anomaly of a place in that, it's got this very Tibetan culture within India. It's in the mountains. It is set in the foothills of the Himalayas. So we will be in the Himalayas still. The Himalayas are huge, by the way. They run across many countries. Of course, the most famous part of the Himalayas is Mount Everest, but the Himalayas do run through India and they are beautiful. So we will spend 3 beautiful nights up there. We are still doing yoga. We will still do a sound healing. We will visit a couple of women's organizations, which we were planning to do in Nepal as well. We may even visit a couple of other things I'm working on. We have a cooking class with my beautiful darling Neha from Saffron Palette. I believe she's the best. It is the best cooking class in the world. We go to her home in Delhi. She's actually taught 2 of the master chefs, the original master chef judges from Australia, how to cook butter chicken. So we will learn. I will recommend. I will request butter chicken as the dish that we cook. That will be our opening night of the retreat. A few other things that we've added in. My clients, I always recommend that they fly in a night or 2 early because, you know, it is a long flight, and if your flight doesn't get in on time, we generally have to fly via somewhere else. So most of us will fly via Singapore. So I'm just gonna take a drink. Most of us will fly via Singapore, and so we will stop. So you just can't guarantee the flight time. So I say at least get in the night before. Through my partner, we organise their hotels so they can have a choice of hotels, but we've got 2 beautiful options. One is more like a classic kind of hotel, and so, you know, beautiful opulence, marble grandeur, but quite, you know, a hotel. And the other one is a haveli, and it is a heritage haveli, so means a house, and it's got a courtyard in the middle. It's this big, beautiful 5-story building with a terrace, and it's actually right in the heart of Old Delhi, which is near the Red Fort, and it's really that, and Jama Masjid, which is a Muslim mosque. It's all these markets and laneways and things like that. It's kind of what you think of when you think of India. It's quite an intense welcome, but I will be there. We will be picking up our clients. They always get picked up at the airport. Transfers are always arranged in this part of the world. We always pick up our clients from the airport. There's signage and everything. I'll be meeting them when they arrive to their hotel, before they arrive to the hotel, to escort them all as a soft landing into India. But I've recommended 1 to 2 nights before. If they can come in 2 nights before, which pretty much everyone has planned anyway, we are going to take a 1-day trip, which is an addition to the retreat, to the Taj Mahal, of course. So Agra is kind of a 3-hour drive, or you can get the train. We'll be driving in a beautiful vehicle to Agra, and they will see one of the new wonders of the world. Oh, I get emotional again. The Taj Mahal. I've been 6 times, and it doesn't cease to take your breath away. So we'll also visit one of my most favorite places to go and support, and that is the Shiro's Cafe, which is a place to support people who have survived acid attacks, women who've survived acid attacks. These beautiful women run this cafe. It is a donation-based place. They have beautiful goods and food, and they do henna and things like that. And we will hear their story and support their advocacy to stop acid attacks, which is heinous and awful. So very lots of, you know, we're going to see some culture. We'll see a lot of culture. We'll see a lot of history. We will really get in amongst it in India. We have the most incredible travel partners. We do travel in luxury. We do see all levels though, and I can't wait to hold this group. However, I knew that not everyone was keen for India, and I do recognize that changing a country is kind of a big deal, and it's not fair to just say, we're moving it, you have to come or don't. So I did offer an alternative, and that was to attend another retreat, which I had been planning but wasn't quite ready to get out there, in 1 week, and that is the Pleasure Life Retreat Australia. So every year I will be running 2 retreats, one in Australia, and that destination will change. I'm returning to Kangaroo Valley this year because which is where we went. Sorry, I'm returning in 2026 to Kangaroo Valley because we went last year and it was just such an exquisite few days. My clients who came said, I think 4 or 5 of them said, I would come back next year and I want to bring a friend. So I said, great, let's make it an annual event. Certainly keeping it the same place for the next year, but we will move it around because I want to support different places in Australia. But I love the team at Barranca. They actually have a lot of properties. They have a lot of two properties in the south coast of New South Wales region, and then they have a lot of other properties as well. So I'll basically be touring with them, and I do recommend them to my clients as well. Is a brilliant, well facilitated place to host a retreat. They've got connections to caterers, yoga, there's animals, there's a creek for swimming in, and you've just got the nature. I mean, let alone the kangaroos, but there's like donkeys out the front. It's just so beautiful. And it really is a retreat in terms of you kind of got to go down a wiggly road to get there. And then once you're there, you're there, you're in the nature. We can really wind down and we can do the work that we need to do, as well as lots of rest. So that one is 18th to the 21st of February 2026. It's called the Pleasure Life Retreat Australia. It's at my website, restandreceive.au/pleasure life au. All the links will be in the show notes. You're also welcome to email me at any time. So totally understood that this might be something that my clients needed an option for. So two of my beautiful clients said no thank you to India. They would love to come to Nepal another time, or India another time, just not what was on the bingo card for this year. And that's okay. I really respect it. So they have said yes to Kangaroo Valley, which is amazing. And what I did was offer a refund for the difference, because there is a price difference between the two. So they will be receiving a refund for the difference. So I'm so grateful. Honestly, I just am blown away by the beautiful people that I've attracted to this retreat. I think it's a testament to my business and to what we put out there, but also a testament to these incredible humans who have been so gracious, so patient, so understanding in what was honestly a crisis and so sad and difficult. They made it so much easier. They were all so understanding and kind and patient. But honestly, within 6 days, we had it sorted. Within 6 days, we turned this around. We had the websites up, we had the options available, and they knew what they were doing. So everyone is sorted. Everyone's got something to look forward to. I did have another option, which I will share soon, but I can't yet because nobody took it, so I'm not going to put it up yet. We just would like another week or two to launch another retreat. I do have another thing that I've created that I have to share with you. I'm not going to share it today, but there is something. If you head to restandreceive.au/events, you'll see that we've created something else for 2026 in this region, but we do have another place. I'm going to give you a hint. Well, for the video, people who watch the YouTube, I'm just holding up here this beautiful thing. I actually got it. I'm pretty sure I got it in Dharamsala, which is so amazing to return to. And it's kind of weird now that I think about it. I've been looking at this every day. And so I've been thinking about Dharamsala a lot. And actually, and what it is it's a sort of old picture. It shows the Tibet and where Tibetan regions are, but on there is also all the countries that neighbor Tibet, all of the areas that neighbor Tibet. So you've got China, you've got Burma, you've got Bhutan, India, Nepal. There's an area of Nepal called Ladakh, but it's sort of a Tibetan map showing the places that are special to Buddhists and the Tibetan culture. I'm gonna have to take a photo of it and get some better understanding when I'm there. But I just bought it, and it was this poster that I bought, and I had it rolled up for so long in my house. And I really loved it. And you go, oh, I'm never gonna do anything with that. And then we had this painting that I wanted to change out in this frame, and it fit perfectly. And so my husband put it into the frame, and now it's in my office, and it sits actually near my desk on my business altar, and I look at it every day. And I'd forgotten that it was from Dharamsala. And when I went to Dharamsala in India, I only went for a couple of days, and I absolutely loved it. And it was so peaceful. It was so calm. I felt this amazing energy. I met this incredible person there. I went to the Dalai Lama's residence, and I actually saw the Dalai Lama, which was incredible. I've actually seen him twice in my life. He also walked past me in a foyer in a hotel in Delhi, like walked right in front of me, walked past me, walked into the lift, turned around smiling, and the doors closed, and we all were like, that was the like that was him, right? Like there's only one. I had to Google it. I was like, there's only been one, right? And there's only been one in my lifetime and in many people's lifetimes who are alive now because he's like 80 something. Anyway, he's unmistakable. His presence was unmistakable, and it was pretty magical. So hopefully, His Holiness is in residence when we get there, and we get to be in his presence. But yeah, I actually cried when I was in Dharamsala and was really upset when I left because I just felt like I had rushed it and I hadn't given it enough time. And I was in this beautiful, amazing place. And why was I rushing? Why was I rushing around? Why was I doing this like jam-packed itinerary? I'm trying to learn from this. 13 years ago, I had this thought and I was like, I just don't want to, I want to, give myself more time and space and feel this calm. And so I cannot wait to take everyone back to get all those reminders, to have that beautiful energy and, to fulfill this, I guess, this picture of exploring this region. So I may or may not have just said our next destination. So there was a little Easter egg in there, if you listened, of where we might be heading in the second half of 2026. So ideally, in my vision, I want to now run 2 retreats a year. Officially, there will only be 2 Pleasure Life retreats a year, one Australia, one overseas, but there might also be some that pop up. I've got some partnerships and some collaborations that are keen to move forward. I've got some other opportunities that I'm sort of creating that region for Rest and Receive, and one I will announce very soon, which will not be retreats, but they will be involving travel and they will have a retreat orientation. I'm being very coded. So the message of today is expect the unexpected, and when the unexpected happens, have a plan. Have a plan of how you're going to deal with it. Have a support around you. Be honest and communicate as soon as you can. And just attract the most wonderful people into your world who will be there for you when things hit the fan. These are all things that I'm teaching in my Host Profitable Retreats course, because I can guarantee you that something at some point will go wrong. I've had two retreats in Australia where the venue has cancelled or changed on me. So I've had to move it. I've not yet had to move it to another country, but now I have. So if something can go wrong, you need to address it. And I have this beautiful exercise called What If, where we explore all of these things. What if this goes wrong? What if this happens? What if it doesn't work out? What if, but what if also when something goes wrong, you're able to deal with it and magic still happens? What if I ask for help and we create something incredible and different? And everyone's sort of saying, all of the clients who are coming, they're like, this has happened for a reason. Something's happened for a reason. And I just want to say right here, right now, I guarantee I will run a retreat in Nepal. I will 100% run a retreat in Nepal. We won't announce or decide on anything until probably April 2026. They have their elections in March. So I don't think it's responsible to create anything. But essentially, we have the itinerary, we have the page, we have everything ready. We had it all sorted. We have the retreat ready to go. We need new dates. So as soon as we know what is happening in the country, as soon as we have confidence from the local office, from my providers there, we will set new dates. I will announce it, and I hope that the people who wanted to go can come. I hope that the people who couldn't make those dates but were keen on Nepal can make it. And I hope that if you're listening here and you're interested, that you're able to join us at that time. But we do still have spots available for India. We can take 5 twins, and we can take 2 private. So we can take 2 private or 5 twin, not both. So if there are 2 people who are keen and want their own room, we can take you. If there are 5 people who are willing to share and want to come, it's restandreceive.au/India 2025. If India is not your flavour or November doesn't work for you, it's the 21st to the 27th of November. We do have the Australian retreat, the Pleasure Life retreat in Australia. That will be in Kangaroo Valley. And we actually already have 8 people booked. 8 people locked in, booked. So I usually take 12, we're going to take 6. I only have 6 rooms available. So whether that we might have some people who are willing to share, but I can only take a limited amount of people on the property. So we only have 6 rooms, or 6 spots, yeah. 6 people can come. So if you want the private rooms, they're going to book up faster. And if you want to share, we have a few more spots, but you got to get in quick. And we do have payment plans as well as upfront payments with a discount available. So that's all of that. That's a lot. It's a lot, a lot, a lot. If you're on my mailing list, you'll be seeing this coming out today. Thank you for listening. I Thank you for listening. Thank you to my clients for being gracious and understanding. Thank you to my travel partner, India. Thank you to my beautiful team, Rochelle and Kerry, for holding me during a very stressful time and for working diligently and efficiently to get everything up and ready. We cannot do this alone. I'm so incredibly grateful for support. Thank you for listening today. Make sure to follow us, Emma Lovell. I'm emmalovell.au on Instagram. You can find me on LinkedIn, Emma Lovell. You can find our website, emmalovell.au. If you're interested in the retreat side of things, you can head to restandreceive.au. Have any questions, do send me an email. It's pretty easy, emma@emmalovell.au. You can always head to the website. All the links in the show notes and below. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. And namaste.